The golden dusk settled over Pinewood Estates, a tidy suburban sprawl where I, Alex Carter, had planted roots 3 years back.
Welcome to Karen Chronicles. Before we begin, please like the video and subscribe to the channel so we can continue creating even better content. Thank you so much. All right, let's get started.
At 38, a graphic designer with a quiet life, I'd hung a rainbow flag on my porch last June. Pride Month. A splash of color against my beige ranch, a nod to my brother Sam, gone a decade but always with me. It fluttered there, a three-way 5-foot beacon, until Monday hit with a neon yellow shock in my mailbox. HOA violation, non-approved exterior display, $200 fine, removed within 48 hours. My stomach dropped. Pinewood's charm curdled, and Karen Voss, the new HOA chair, had her perm-printed signature on it. Karen, 55, with a perm as rigid as her rules, had stormed in 6 months ago, clipboard swinging, smile sharp, reshaping Elmwood with fines and frowns. I'd seen her, yellow blazer glaring, snap pics of Mrs. Lopez's too tall. Roses, ignore Mr. Chen's peeling fence. This wasn't random. Sam's flag, my flag, was her dart, and Tuesday I faced her, porch steps creaking, her perm bobbing as she scribbled. "Karen," I said, voice steady, flag flapping behind. "It's not banned. Bylaws say personal flags allowed, no size limit." Her smirk twitched, blue eyes cold. "Aesthetics, Alex. Rainbows garish, not Pinewood's vibe. Pay or pull it." Garish? Sam's laugh, bright, bold, echoed in that flag. Karen's vibe was a jab at him, at me. Wednesday I dug. HOA rules, my 19 draft when I'd served. Section 3, resident expression. Flags free, no aesthetic veto. Karen's fine a lie. Her perm a crown of bias. Thursday, I caught her. Coffee shop whispers with Sylvia. Her VP, Carter's flag. Queer nonsense, nip it. My phone snagged it, her sneer, her spite, not rules, her whip. Pinewood wasn't hers, it was ours, and she'd picked the wrong fight. Friday I stewed. Sam's flag, my stand. Karen's. $200 wasn't a fine. It was a gauntlet, her HOA a tool to purge what she loathed. Mrs. Lopez texted, "She find my roses, 100. Hates my mess." Mr. Torres, my shed, 150. She's picky. Her vibe wasn't Elmwood's, it was hers, a perm-walled. Fortress I'd crack. I'd drafted those bylaws. Could her sneer, her spite outlast the rules I'd shaped? Elmwood watched. Sam's rainbow flapped. Karen's fine, my fuse. How far would she push before I burned her down? Karen Voss's $200 fine on my rainbow flag, Sam's flag, still burned in my gut by Friday night, a neon yellow dagger pinning Pinewood Estates quiet to her perm-waving whims. I, Alex Carter, wasn't just a graphic designer, I'd chaired. This HOA in 19 wrote its bylaws, Section 3, resident expression, my shield, and Karen's aesthetic jab was a lie I'd shred. Her coffee shop sneer, queer nonsense, nip it, looped on my phone, her bias a blade I'd turn. Saturday I went hunting, not for peace but proof. Elmwood wasn't hers to purge, and Sam's flag wasn't her first cut. I started. With the chat, Mrs. Lopez pinged Saturday dusk. She fined my roses, 100, too messy, but Chen's weeds, nothing. Mr. Torres chimed, my shed, 150, unapproved. Lee's fence peels, zip. Sunday I tailed. Karen's yellow blazer a beacon. Her clipboard flicked at Mrs. Harper's wind chimes. 75, noise. Mr. Patel's. Flag, 100, wrong colors, but Sylvia's garish gnomes. Untouched, her posse's lawns wild, fine free. Selective, I muttered. Phone rolling, her fines hit dissenters. Lopez, Torres, me, her friends skated, Chen, Lee, Sylvia, her. Vibe, a vendetta, not a rule. Monday, I cracked HOA logs. My 19 login lingered. Fines spiked since Karen. $5,000 in 6 months. $200 flags, $300 sheds. Half to consulting. Greg Voss, her husband, Voss Solutions, emails buried, Harper's Chimes, up it, $500. Cabin bonus, my jaw clenched. Greg's firm padded HOA deals, Pinewood bled, her lake cabin gleamed, her posse's silence bought, Sylvia's yes 200, Bob's fine free. Tuesday I shadowed, Greg's Audi at Dino's, Karen slid cash, 500, Push Patel, prime lot, my lens caught. Her vibe wasn't Elmwood, it was cash, her fines a filter for foes. Wednesday whispers grew, Mrs. Kim, 65. Widowed, she fined my roses, 150 clashes. I voted no on her fence. Mr. Ortiz, 70. My flag, 200. Ugly. I called her out. Older, alone, defiant. Karen's prey, my flag, Sam's. Her dart at queer nonsense. Her perm a crown of spite. Elmwood's quiet a mask for her culling. My bylaws. Section 2. Equal enforcement. Twisted. Her consulting. A theft, 5,000 our blood, her lake deck her win. Thursday I synced, coffee clip nip it, Greg's push, chat flared. She hates me, 100, Mrs. Harper. My shed, 300, 5 homes, 5 fights, Karen's. Net, my noose. Friday I stewed. Sam's flag flapped. Karen's $200 wasn't a fine, it was a purge, her posse. Greg, Sylvia, her shield. Elmwood's elders, Kim Ortiz, her marks, my stand, her spark. Could her bribes, her bias, Voss's cash, outrun? A designer's lens, rules I'd shaped. She'd find Sam's soul, my fight, she'd picked. Pinewood wasn't hers, it was ours. I'd turn her whip, her vibe, her ruin, Elmwood's roar, my flag, my fuse, her fall, my frame. Karen Voss's $200 fine on my rainbow flag, Sam's flag, had ignited a war in Pinewood Estates by Friday, her perm frame bias and Greg's grift festering in my evidence pile. I, Alex Carter, rallied Elmwood Saturday. 60 neighbors texting, meeting, 7p. ABM, she's done. Elmwood Heights community room pulsed, chairs packed, air thick, Margaret's neon fines, my flag, Mrs. Kim's roses, her whip cracking. I stood, phone synced, bylaws in hand. Karen strutted, perm high, yellow. Blazer glaring, Sylvia bob nodding, her posse smug, her gavel poised. Order! Not tonight, Elmwood's roar, my spark. Motion! I barked, voice steady, projector flared, my coffee clip. Queer nonsense, nip it. Karen's sneer, 60 gasps. Mrs. Kim, 65. She fined my roses, 150. Hates my no. Mr. Ortiz, 70. My flag, 200, called her out. Karen's smirk twitched. Lies. But I flipped. HOA logs, $5,000 fines. Kim, Ortiz, me. Sylvia's gnomes, Bob's weeds, zip. Section 2, Equal Enforcement. This, Linda Chen, Silver. Bob Sharp stood, Section 3, Expression, flags free, no vote bans it. Karen lunged, Aesthetics, my diner video, Greg's push 500, cash swapped, Mr. Jen snapped, my shed 300, she's crooked. Derek Jones, wiry, 40 rows, hands shaking, she bribed me, 500, forge maps, or your garage. I did, sorry. Mrs. Lopez gasped, my roses, 100, she's stealing. Karen's, perm quivered, you're done. But I pressed, Greg's Voss Solutions, $5,000 consulting, her lake deck, my bylaws. Section 6, fraud voids office. Mr. Torres, she fined my fence, 150, her buddy Lee's free. 60 voices, Mrs. Harper, my chimes, 75, she hates us. Karen shrieked, I'm chair. Linda snapped. Section 9, misconduct, vote. Hands flew, misses. Kim, Ortiz, out, 58. Sylvia, Bob, 2 cowed. Karen's gavel dropped. You'll pay. Booze drowned, chairs scraped. Mr. Chen filmed, chat flared. She's toast, 100,000 views. Karen's posse, Greg mute. Sylvia shrank, her vibe, ash. I banged. Dismissed. Neighbors surged. Misses. Lopez hugged, free. Mr. Ortiz, ours. Elmwood's roar, my flag, Sam's, her ruin, my lens, live. Could her bribes, her spite, 5,000 duns, outrun a block's steel, rules I'd shaped? Karen's flag ban, her fines, her vibe cracked, my clips, Derek's truth, Linda's steel flipped, Elmwood stood, her gavel, her greed gone, my boat, my fight, her fall. Could she crawl, her perm, her plot, Elmwood's ours? Saturday night's HOA meeting had left Elmwood Heights electrified. Margaret Voss's perm-waving reign shattered by my evidence, her queer nonsense sneer, Derek's bribe confession, $5,000 in fines siphoned to Greg's Voss Solutions. I, Alex Carter, had flipped her game. 58 votes ousted her, my rainbow flag, Sam's flag, her downfall's spark. Sunday dawn, Pinewood buzzed, Margaret's clipboard clattered, her posse, Sylvia, Bob, cowed. But she wasn't done clawing. Monday, her yellow blazer stormed the HOA office, Greg trailing her "You'll pay," echoing as I watched. Phone live, 200,000 views. She'd lost, but her venom lingered. Elmwood's fight wasn't over. Monday noon, I synced. Cops rolled in. Sergeant Davis grizzled badge glinting. Clara Tanner's call, my clips, Linda Chen's bylaws a flood. Margaret Voss, fraud, bribery, step up, he barked. Her perm quivered. She'd barricaded her desk. Greg beside. This is my HOA. Davis snorted. Not now. Step out. Cuffs snapped. Her wrists. Greg's conspiracy extortion. You too. Then my diner video. Push 500. Cash swapped. Derek's she bribed me. Played. Karen's you'll pay. Her lake deck 5,000. Feds loomed. Elmwood's eyes 60 strong gaped. Mrs. Kim she fined me 150. Mr. Ortiz, my flag 200. Cops hauled files, Voss Solutions 5,000 traced, her vibe a jail cell's clang. Tuesday, justice hit, County Land Office, Clark Evans, no redraws, fake. Linda's docks, my boat, Mrs. Harper's shed, legal. Margaret's stakes, forged. Sergeant Davis, property fraud, felony. Greg's firm $2 million pinnacle deal. Cracked emails. Push Carter, $2 million locked. Her perm, her plot, cuffs. Elmwood's roar. She's gone. Mrs. Lopez hugged. Free. Mr. Chen filmed. Ours. Chat flared. She's toast. 500,000 views. Margaret's chair. Her lake cash. Seized. Greg's fast. A flop. Cops dug. Her bribes. Her fall. Elmwood's rise. Could her vibe, her greed, outrun a block steel, my lens live? Wednesday, Elmwood danced, council chambers, Clara. Margaret's out, 58-2, HOA's null. Sergeant Davis, feds next, grand theft. Mrs. Harper, she find my chimes, $75 crook. Mr. Torres, my shed, 300 is gone. Cheers, 60 hands, free. Margaret's reign, ash, Greg's firm, dead. Elmwood's air, light, my flag, Sam's, waved, Mrs. Kim, she's history, Linda. Ours now, cops hauled. Margaret's pay, her perm, her plot, jail. Elmwood's ours. Could her stakes, her cash, outrun a mayor's kin? My fight, live. Thursday, peace bloomed. Margaret's cuffs, feds digging, her lake house, $2 million gone. Elmwood stood, my boat, the Elsie Mae, mine, Mrs. Harper's shed, hers. Mr. Torres's fence, his. Karen's vibe, her ruin. Elmwood's roar, my flag. Sam's, her fall. Could she, her greed, her chair, outrun my lens? Elmwood's ours. Margaret Voss's arrest, cuffs snapping as Elmwood Heights cheered, left Pinewood Estates unshackled by Friday. Her perm-waving tyranny, a fading echo. I, Alex Carter, stood on my porch, Sam's rainbow flag flapping proud, her $200 fine a spark that had burned her reign to ash. Saturday, cops hauled her off, Greg Voss in tow, Sergeant Davis's fraud, bribery done ringing as Elmwood's livestream hit 500,000 views. She's toast. Karen's lake house seized, her golden parking scam buried. Pinewood wasn't hers, it was ours, and Sunday we rebuilt. Sunday dawn, 60 of us packed the community room, chairs full, air light, Margaret's neon fines, my flag, Mrs. Kim's roses, gone, her gavel dust. Linda Chen, 68, Silver Bob Sharp, stepped up. New HOA, now. Elected. 58-0, transparency, first vow, she said. Voice steady, no fines for flags, no vibe veto, dues fixed benches, not bribes, records open, every cent traced. No Karens, she grinned, Mrs. Lopez clapped, we're free. Mr. Ortiz toasted, to Alex, my flag, Sam's, their spark, Elmwood's air, sweet. Could fairness bloom where greed had burned? Monday we stitched. Linda's HOA met. Me, Mrs. Harper, Mr. Torres, rules slashed, expression free, flags fly, Margaret's aesthetic a ghost, Jews planted a park, roses for Mrs. Harper, neighbors grilled, ribs smoked. To Sam, my flag waved, Pinewood spine, steel, Mrs. Kimberly find me 150 gone, Mr. Chen, my shed 300 safe. Elmwood's quiet, our roar, Margaret's vibe, her ruin, Linda's steel, our rise, could her perm, her spite, outrun a block's my stand. Tuesday, justice bloomed, feds hit, Margaret's $2 million traced, Greg's firm dead, her lake cash $1. 5 million clawed, Elmwood's park, rainbow rise, Sam's name, his flag steel, Mrs. Lopez planted, for Alex's brother. Kids ran, neighbors hugged, Linda vowed, ours, fair. Margaret's trial, fraud, bribery, years, grey, her vibe, her cage. Elmwood danced, Mr. Torres, free, Mrs. Harper, ours, my flag, Sam's high, could her greed, her chair, outrun, my lens, live. Wednesday, Elmwood sword, new HOA, Linda's oath, serve, not steal, landlines true, my boat, the Elsie May, mine, Mrs. Kim's roses, hers, Mr. Ortiz's flag, his, Karen's fines, dust, hofight.org, my clips 1 million, she's history. Clara grinned, you sparked, Elmwood's free, Mrs. Chen baked, victory pie, neighbors. Waved, Elmwood's roots, Margaret's fall, our rise, could one flag, one fight shift, suburb soul. Yes, 60 hands, Linda's steel, my flag, Sam's, her ruin, our park. Elmwood wasn't hers, it was ours, reborn, her. Stakes, dust, our stand, stone, a block's grit, a flag's grace.